Hello students, I am BLN Swarupini, lecturer in biochemistry from Sri Venkateswara College of Arts and Science, which is affiliated to Aditya Vinaya University, Rajahmundry. Now, I would like to discuss about 3rd BSc 6th semester biochemistry elective paper, that is basic microbiology. So, from this paper, we have seen topics from Unit 1, Unit 2 and Unit 3. Now, we are going to start Unit 4, in which we will see about algae. So, let's start the topic. So, firstly, let's see about history of phycology. So, here phycology is nothing but study of algae. Study of algae is called as phycology. Okay. So, here both ancient Greeks and Romans, they know about this algae from ancient times also. And there is study of these algae varieties and different kinds of algae during the ancient period. Coming to ancient Chinese, they used to eat algae. That means they have used this particular algae as food. Till now, if you see East Asian companies, and also like few countries, they consume these algal weeds as food material. Mostly sports persons. Okay, if you see countries like China, Japan, and Korea, so they eat these algae as food. So they grow these seaweeds commercially and they utilize these seaweeds as food material. Why? Because there are rich nutrients. It is of rich nutrient value, and mostly athletic sports persons and athletes, they eat these kind of food to improve their protein. Okay, and also there is scientific study of algae. It started during the 18th century, and during 19th century a scientist called William Henry Harvey, he started significant grouping in algae. That means he started classification of algae. That means he started to differentiate different kinds of algae, and he grouped algae into different divisions. That means he divided these algae into 4 groups based on their pigmentation. So these algae contain different kinds of pigments. Based on that only we have red algae, blue green algae. So based on the pigmentation, this scientist William Henry Harvey, he differentiated algae into 4 groups. That's why we name him as father of modern phycology. So William Henry Harvey is the father of modern phycology, as he have huge contributions in this phycology. So initially he studied on the different species of algae, and based on the pigmentation he differentiated, or he grouped this algae into 4 divisions. Okay, and later in the 1803 J.P.E. Watcher, he explained about isogamy in algae. So isogamy is a sexual mode of reproduction that is seen in algae. So he explained this isogamy and algae, and in which year? In the year 1803. And in the year 1889, Kinaro Okumura is a scientist. He explained about a Japanese coastal algae, and later Fritsch, he is a scientist. He published a book with 2 volumes about his observations in this algae, and he named that book as The Structure and Reproduction of the Algae. So he explained his work and observation in his book named The Structure and Reproduction of the Algae, and he published that book in 2 volumes. That means he published that book in 2 parts. Okay. So this is about phycology introduction, and now we'll see about the general characteristics of algae. So if you see the word algae, it emerged from a Latin word, and in Latin this algae means seaweed. So we commonly also call these algae as seaweed. Okay. So this algae is a group of chlorophyll containing thyroid plants which bear unicellular or multicellular sex organs. Okay, so here algae is a chlorophyll containing thyroid like plant. Thyroid means a flat surface will be present. Okay, so here coming to the sex organs, they might be unicellular or multicellular, and here the body of this algae, what we call it as thyroid plants. So here the plant body is known as thallus. So as we mentioned, this thyroid kind of plant, this plant's body is a thallus body. That means the body is not differentiated. It is not differentiated into any different parts. If you take a plant, it contains leaves, stem, root, flower, fruit, in that manner. Coming to animals or humans, we have hands or legs, but in case of algae, its body is not differentiated. A flat thallus will be present. And in thalloid plants, there will be no differentiation of plant body into true root, stem or leaf. That's why we call it as thallus. Okay. And coming to ecosystem of classification of algae, these algae are placed in the division Thallophyta along with fungi and lichens. So here in ecosystem of classification, these algae are placed in Thallophyta along with fungi and lichens. So in Thallophyta we have 3 groups, that is algae, fungi and lichens. And algae are autotrophic in nature. So as these are chlorophyll containing plants, they prepare their own food material. Okay, so chlorophyll is present in their thallus, and by utilizing that chlorophyll and by absorbing sunlight, these algae can prepare their own food material. So here algae differ from fungi in the presence of photosynthetic pigment, that is chlorophyll. Okay, so this is the major difference that is present between algae and fungi. So algae contains chlorophyll, and due to presence of this chlorophyll only, this algae mode of nutrition is autotrophic, which can prepare its own food material. So majority of algae are aquatic in nature. Okay, but that doesn't mean we can find them in other habitats. These are, if you see its occurrence and habitat, these are ubiquitous. Okay, ubiquitous. Ubiquitous means present in everywhere. Okay, these if you see the algae, these are present in fresh water, and these are also present in different hot springs, and these are present on terrestrial, that means on land surface, and these also act as epiphytes and parasites. Parasite means they infect the plants, and epiphyte means they form a association between the plant and algae. Okay, and these are also present in animals. So in different kinds of environment and atmospheres we can find these algae. That's why we call them as ubiquitous. Okay, aquatic algae, terrestrial algae, and some algae which are present in unusual habitats are also seen. Okay, so but mostly we see aquatic habitat. That means algae are mostly seen in aquatic habitat, that might be a fresh water or a marine water, and some are also in the terrestrial areas. Okay, but we can see them in wide variety of places. That's why we call it as ubiquitous, which means present everywhere. Okay, and these algae are present in all parts of the world, including Arctic and Antarctic regions. So which means we can also see the algal growth in snow. Okay, and coming to the six organs, these are unicellular and multicellular. Here these six organs lack jacket cells around them, and these are in naked state. Okay, so these are in naked state. So coming to the reproduction in these algal groups, they undergo different types of reproduction modes. And during the history of phycology, what we have discussed, there is isogamy, which is a reproductive mode explained by the scientist. Name the scientist. He is Watcher. In the year 1803, he explained about the isogamy, which is an important reproduction mode in the algae. So in this manner, they undergo different kinds of reproductive methods. So here we have many number of algae groups, and each species, it undergoes different kind of reproduction modes. Okay, so here embryo is not found after zygote formation. So usually during the reproduction process, what happens, whenever the reproduction is taken place, immediately after this, what happens, a zygote will be formed, and from this zygote embryo will be developed. So here embryo is not found during the zygote formation. Okay, and here also if you see the cellular organization, it might be a prokaryotic form like blue-green algae, and few algae undergo eukaryotic mode of cellular organization. And in algae, food storage is in the form of starch. So here if you can see, these algae are chlorophyll containing species. Okay, and here plants are also chlorophyll containing organisms, I mean plants. So in plants also we see starch as reserve food material. So in the similar manner, algae also contains starch as reserve food material. So whatever the food that is present in algae is stored in the form of starch. Okay, and these algae show distinct alternation of generations. Alternation of generations is commonly seen in algae. And here the multicellular complex thalli lack vascular tissues and also show little differentiation of tissues. Okay, so vascular tissues are not present in the thalli of the algae, and these are the general characters. Along with this, let's see occurrence and habitat. So as said earlier, these are ubiquitous, present everywhere, and these algae are found in freshwater as well as in marine water. These are seen on rocks, and these are present in soil, and these are present as epiphytes with plants or parasitic. They show epiphytic association and also parasitic association with plants and animals. And we can also see algae in hot springs, in desert areas, and in snow, and these are present in mostly aquatic fields. So based on the habitat, these algae are differentiated into three groups. What are they? Aquatic algae, terrestrial algae, and algae of unusual habitats. So unusual habitats means hot springs, snow, desert. These kind of unusual habitats will be seen under the third category. So first let's see about aquatic algae. Aquatic algae. So algae which are present in aquatic bodies, we have freshwater bodies and also marine water bodies. So we have freshwater dwelling algae, and in the similar manner we have marine water dwelling algae. So here few algae they grow in brackish water also. So brackish water is also suitable for the algal, few kinds of algae. And here if you see about freshwater, which kind of freshwater bodies support the algae means tanks, ponds, ditches, etc. And very common freshwater algae are Chlamydomonas, Volvax, Cara, Oregonium, Spirogyra, Nostac, Oscillatoria. So these are the freshwater algae. So what are they? Chlamydomonas, Volvax, Cara, Oregonium, Spirogyra, Nostac and Oscillatoria. And now let's see about marine algae. So marine algae means these dwell in the sea and oceans. Okay, they dwell in sea and oceans. And some of the best example for marine algae are Laminaria, Ectocarpus, Polysiphonia, Sargassum. Okay, so these are the algal examples for marine algae. So what are they? Laminaria, Ectocarpus, Polysiphonia and Sargassum. Okay. So here freshwater algae may be termed as planktonic. So we can mention these freshwater algae as planktonic. And why means when they grow and remain suspended on the upper parts of the water. So if any freshwater algae is only present on the surface of the water, we call it as planktonic, and best example is Volvax. And the benthic algae or bottom dwellers, that means these are the algae which dwell in the deeper water bodies, that means in the lower surface of the water bodies, and best example is Cara. Okay. And next one is terrestrial algae. Terrestrial algae. And these terrestrial algae, these are found in different habitats again. Rocks, soil, on logs. Logs means nothing but on wood material. Okay. So here the algae that grow on the surface of the soil are called as saprophytes. Best example Vachyria and Frischella. Okay. And algae which grow under the surface of the soil are called as cryptophytes, and best example is blue-green algae. Okay. And next, some algae penetrate into the rocks and they are known as endolithic algae. Endolithic algae. So these algae, they can also penetrate into the rock and they can grow there, and we call them as endolithic algae. Now let's see about the algae at unusual habitats. Unusual habitats means in the saline. So in the saline conditions. So you may get some doubt. We have already discussed about the marine dwelling algae, but marine dwelling algae means there will be a moderate salinity, but here in at most saline conditions also few algae can grow. So these come under this category, that is unusual habitats, and also at high temperatures, at low temperatures. Let's see about them. Okay. In addition to the aquatic and terrestrial habitats, some algae grow in uncommon habitats. Halophytic algae. These are the algae which grow in high concentration of salt. Okay, like salt lakes. Example, Chlamydomonas. So, if you hear properly, Chlamydomonas is a freshwater algae. But here I am explaining this Chlamydomonas and halophytic algae also. That means Chlamydomonas can grow in freshwater and also in high salinity conditions also. And the next kind of algae is symbiotic algae. These algae, they show, that means they undergo association with fungi. When algae and fungi, they grow in association, they grow in an association with fungi or bryophytes or gymnosperms or angiosperms. So this kind of symbiotic algae are Nostac. So this Nostac is a symbiotic algae. Nostac forms symbiosis with fungi. Okay, and the symbiotic association with algae and fungi is called as lichen. So this is a special condition called lichen. And the next one is cryptophytic algae. So coming to this cryptophytic algae, these are the algal groups which grow in ice or snow, and best example is Hematococcus nivalis. And the next type is thermal algae. So these are the algal groups which grow in hot springs and high temperate regions. So here best example is Oscillatoria brevis. Next one is lithophytes. So these are the algal groups which grow in moist surface of the stone and rocks. Best example, Nostac. And the next one is epiphytic algae. And here epiphytic algae means these algal groups, they grow in association with other groups. Like algae undergo association with algae. That means diatoms and oregonium, they form a algae to algae association. And next, algae groups, they form association with bryophytes like Nostac, Oscillatoria, they form association with bryophytes. And few algal groups like Trentofolia, they undergo association with angiospermic plants, and that means they grow on the backs of the angiosperms. And this is commonly seen in the Darjeeling areas of our India. And the next group is epizoic algae. This epizoic algae is algae which grow on animals. Okay, so like these algae, they grow on the surface of fish or snail. Best example is Stygiodonium, grow on the gills of the fish. Next, endozoic algae. These are the algae which grow in the tissues or animals, inside the animals. So here epizoic is only seen on the surface of the animals. These endozoic algae are the algal groups which grow inside the organisms and in the tissues. So here Zoochlorella is found in the Hydra viridis. So this is one of the best example. And the next one is parasitic algae. So some algae grow parasitically on different plants and animals. Best example is Chlorophyceae. And the next one is salmon. These are the algae which grow in the sandy beaches. Okay, best example is Wachiria. So these are different habitats of these algae. So as these are ubiquitous, these undergo That means we can see these algae in different kinds of atmospheric conditions. Okay. So the next one is about thallus organization, and the thallus organization is also differ from one organism to other organism. Okay. So here thalli of algae show a range of organization starting from unicellular form to highly organized multicellular. And here if you see thallus structure, it is of two types, unicellular and multicellular. If you see unicellular, it is again of two types, that is motile unicellular or algae and non-motile unicellular algae. And coming to multicellular, we have colonial, in which we can again see sinusoid and palmelloid. And in the other forms like dendroid, rhizopoidal are commonly seen in this particular colonial. And next form is filamentous. In this filamentous we will see unbranched and branched and falsely branched. And the next is simple filamentous, in which we will see heterotrichous forms and also pseudo parenchymatous forms. And the third method is spirosiphinaceous and fourth is parenchymatous. Now let's see the unicellular algae. So unicellular forms of algae are also called as acellular algae. These unicellular algae might be motile and non-motile. Here if you see about motile unicellular algae, these unicellular motile forms are found in all classes except Basilarophyceae and Rhodophyceae, Phaeophyceae and Mexophyceae. So these are the four groups in which we cannot see these motile unicellular algae. Here motile unicellular algae are most commonly aquatic algae, and best example is Chlamydomonas. And the next non-motile unicellular algae, these are present without flagellae, and best examples spirulina and chlorella. So spirulina and chlorella, these are the non-motile forms, and Chlamydomonas is a non-motile form which with a flagella, and most probably these motile forms are aquatic. Now let's see about the multicellular. So in multicellular, the first one is colonial, and the second one is filamentous, and third one is siphinaceous, and fourth one is parenchymatous. So first let's see about colonial. So these group of organisms, they form colonies. A colony is an aggregate of cells enclosed in a mucilage envelope. So there will be a colony which is enclosed by a mucilage envelope, and these colonial forms are again four types, that is sinusoid, and the next one is palmelloid, and the third one is dendroid, and fourth one is rhizopoidal. So here the first one, that is synobium. So the synobium, a colony with a definite number of cells and having a constant shape and size, is called as synobium. And the synobium may be motile and have flagella, and sometimes it might be non-motile. So motile form of synobium synobium cell organization is formed by volvax, and non-motile form will be found by hydrodiction. Okay. And the next one is palmelloid. So here palmelloid, the colony in which there is no fixed number of cells and the non-motile cells are embedded in an amorphous mucilaginous covering, and it is called as palmelloid colony. Best example Chlorophyceae. So In this manner they will be arranged. That means here there will be no fixed number and non-motile, whereas this synobium is a there will be a fixed number of cells and there will be a constant shape and size, and it might be a flagellated one or it might be a non-flagellated one. Flagellated form will be called as motile form and non-flagellated one will be called as non-motile form. And coming to this palmanoid, there is no fixed number of cells and most probably it is non-motile and a mucilaginous covering is present, and best example chlorophyceae. And the next one is dendroid. Dendroid itself means there will be a dendroid means tree like in the form of a branch. If you see the diagram here, in this manner, in the form of a branches, it will be present. Dendroid means tree like and cells are joined in a branch like manner by localized production of mucilage at the base of each cell. So these will be formed in the branch in the form of a branch, and these branching will be produced by a mucilage. And best example is Echelocystis. Okay, and the next one is rhizopodial. These rhizopodial means these are united with rhizopodia, and best example is Chrysidiastrum. And the second mode is filamentous. So these filamentous forms are common in algae in a form of filament, and the cells are joined end to end. Filaments may be unbranched or branched or simple. So if you see unbranched, in this type of filament cells are arranged in single row. Best example Spirogyra. How Spirogyra will be present? So here thallus will be divided. So in this manner Spirogyra will be present. So Odogonium and Spirogyra are the best example for unbranched filamentous form. And in branched we have again true branching and falsely branching. Coming to true branching, in most of the forms true branching is due to lateral outgrowths developed as branches. Best example Cladophora. And for false branching Spirogyra, that means few Spirogyra are unbranched and few Spirogyra are falsely branched. So the trichome breaks out of the degeneration of intercalary cells, and the broken ends grow out of the mucilaginous sheath and appear like branches. So best example Spirogyra and Scheiktonema. And the next one is simple filamentous. In this simple filamentous we have heterotrichous forms. These heterotrichous habit is the most highly evolved type of filamentous form in algae, and the thallus is differentiated into two parts. So here the thallus is differentiated into two forms: a prostate stem of creeping filament and an erect stem of several branched filaments will be present. If you see, prostate stem of creeping filament and an erect stem of several branching filament will be present. Best example Ectocarpus. And the next one is pseudoparenchymatous forms. If one or more central or axial filaments together with their branches fuse to form a parenchymatous structure, it is called as pseudoparenchymatous structure. That means it is not a true parenchyma. Okay, best example is Polycythonia. And the next one is Siphonoecious. The thallus is non-septate. There will be no presence of septa. So here thallus is not separated with septa and multinucleated with a large central vacuole, and it is cenocytic as there are no septa. Best example Machiria. So if you see the diagram, there is no septate. And the fourth one is parenchymatous. So here the parenchymatous habit is derived from the filamentous thallus as a result of vegetative division taking place in more than one place. Best example, laminaria. So here in this manner cellular organization in algae is present. Okay. So write the notes. In the next class we will see about the ultrastructure of the algal cell. So this is for today. Thank you students.